parliamentary election results at the Tema Central constituency. For those who remember, one of the bone of contention when this whole dispute started was to the effect that once a declaration is made, the only option that you have is to challenge the results at the High Court and not to go by way of mandamus and all that. So the NDC side, during the hearing of the mandamus application, the first preliminary objection that they raised was to the effect that, look, the election results have been declared, and so mandamus is not the application or the process to activate. The only process you need to activate is by way of filing an election petition. And the court said that think otherwise. The court believes that the processes at the centers, the parliamentary elections, are not complete. So the EC should go and complete those processes by way of collating the outstanding results and declaring the winner. And we have seen the EC done that to 3 out of 4 constituencies, with the exception of Ablikuma North. So now Ibi Bright, who is the NDC parliamentary candidate for Tema Central, who was initially declared winner, but the NPP parliamentary candidate at the time, Charles Forson, went with the mandamus application saying that the results are not complete, the processes are not complete because there are some pending polling centers that ought to be collated. The court allowed that, and eventually he was declared winner. Disagreed or dissatisfied with that particular outcome, Ibi Bright has filed an election petition at the Tema High Court, and that is where the whole matter will be heard. And let me walk you through some of the things that Ibi Bright is asking from the court, or is urging on the court in relation to the petition that he has filed. She is asking for 9 reliefs. 9 reliefs. And out of the 9, 8 are declarations. She's seeking some declaration. And on top of that, she is seeking some 5 consequential orders. By way of the declarations that she's seeking, the first one that she is asking the court to do is for the court to declare that she was rather validly elected as a member of parliament for the Tema Central constituencies after the December 7th election. And so she is saying that the declaration made on the 9th of December that declared her winner should be declared as the declared result. That should hold, like you mentioned. The second declaration that he's asking the court to do is to the effect that the court should declare that the second respondent, that is the Electoral Commission, has no legal right to overturn that December 9th declaration of her as the winner of that particular election. So the third declaration is also to the effect that if you look at the polling stations and the polling station result, and there are 3 polling station codes that she held the view that were not conducted in compliance with the regulations of the elections. And she made reference to regulations 39 and 43 of the Public Election Regulations 2020 CI 126, and hold the view that there's a laid down principle for that particular regulation to be done. In fact, that was not dealt with properly. So the court should make that declaration saying that the 3 police centers did not satisfy the requirements of the election process. And the last declaration that she is asking the court for is that the first respondent here, which is Charles Forson, is not the validly elected member of parliament as has been declared by the EC. And so the court should make that declaration clear. After asking the court for all these declarations, now these were the consequential orders that she's asking the court, or the orders that she's urging the court to make. The first one is an order directed at the first and second, that the first is Charles Forson and the second is the Electoral Commission respondent, to endorse the petitioner's name as on the rates specified in Form 1B of the Schedule to the public election as the winner. So in effect, she's saying that the court should order that she won that particular election. Another order that she is seeking is to the effect that the court should direct Charles Forson and the Electoral Commission to gazette and inform the Clerk of Parliament that she is the winner of the parliamentary election, or validly elected member of Parliament for the Tema Central constituency. Another of the reliefs she's seeking was to the effect that, look, the results at the Tema Central constituency that was done, or which effectively declared that Charles Forson is the winner, that particular process did not satisfy or was done in non-compliance with regulations 93 and then 34 of the public elections regulations. And I was also asking the court that if you look at all that has happened, the result, the declaration should be set aside. The one that declared Charles Forson as winner should be set aside. In the alternative, in fact, after saying all these things, she made an alternative suggestion to the court and saying that in the case that the court disagrees with her on all the things that she has said, the court should make an order for a rerun of some of the polling centers in all of that. So that is just in brief of what has happened in relation to the Tema Central parliamentary election, which Charles Forson has been declared winner by the Electoral Commission, but the NDC parliamentary candidate, A.B. Bright, is challenging that at the High Court, which is the proper forum to challenge an election result. And a result that has been declared, the only proper forum that you go is to challenge it at the High Court, which he has done. And Nick Bakpo Samuado is his lawyers who are leading this particular action at the High Court.
Okay, so after A.B. Bright, which is the election petition, as we have talked about extensively, we also know that Bishop Salif Amwako is also expected.
Yes.
What's in court yesterday? Sorry.
Bishop Salif Amwako, wife Moha Amwako, because that's what was stated in the document before the court, and then one Linda Bempa, they were all in court, sales assistant. And yesterday, remember that I did indicate that this is one of the cases that have been tabled before the new Attorney General for review. And for that matter, they were supposed to file an amended charge sheet or a fresh charge sheet yesterday. Yesterday, that did not happen. What has happened was that the court presided over by His Honor, Mr. Samuel Bright Akwa, has adjourned the case to the 17th of February for an update in relation to this matter. And by that time, we'll know more. But nobody should also be surprised should the case is truncated or the charges are dropped in relation to this very matter, which arose as a result of the Salif Amwako's 16-year-old boy's incident at East Legon, resulting in the death of 2 teenagers. But in relation to the 16-year-old boy, he has admitted the offense, and the court has sentenced him to a senior correctional center for a period of 6 months. Yeah.
And from those, we can talk about Albert Kandapa, former National Security Minister. Now he's appearing, initially he was appearing as a National Security Minister. Now he is appearing as a former National Security Minister. How did that go? That case was adjourned, and I'm told that we understand that a quest to have some costs slapped on Oliver did not work.
Yeah, so for this very case, for those who remember the initial stages, lawyers of Oliver Barker-Vormawor raised the point that, look, you cannot separate what has happened from the Office of the National Security. So if anything at all, this action ought to have been commenced by the Attorney General and not Albert Kandapa. Fast forward, hearing has begun, and on the 20th of November last year, Albert Kandapa made his case known to the court, and he's facing cross-examination. In fact, at the time that he initiated this very action, he was still the National Security Minister. So he initiated action at the time that he was a minister, and now he's a former minister, and he's facing scrutiny. What I mean by scrutiny, cross-examination from lawyers of Oliver Barker-Vormawor, led by Dr. Justice Remside. Yesterday, when the matter was called, he wasn't in court. He wasn't in court because he sent a letter to the court indicating that he's out of the jurisdiction and asking the court to adjourn the matter at his instance. Lawyers of Albert Kandapa, led by Ochre Ejekum, were not really happy with the situation. So they went on to say that initially the court asked whether he's seen a copy of the letter that was brought by counsel for Oliver Barker-Vormawor. He said, look, I have been informed, but I have not seen a copy of it yet. The copy that was on the court docket was shown to him. After perusing that, he said, look, I have some prayers to make, I have some submissions to make. And one of the things that he said was to the effect that he sees the letter as a lame excuse. And one of the ways that a counsel could be absent from a case is when that lawyer is having issues with ill health, or he's appearing on his feet at the Court of Appeal, which is higher than the High Court, or the Supreme Court, which is the apex court of the land. But he cannot just bring a letter because we are out of the jurisdiction, especially so also because they all agreed to come to court yesterday. And he's minded to ask the court for a cost against the defendants. But Justice Joseph Edu also argument, he just immediately, when the counsel said that we want to pray for a cost, the court said that take a date. On that score, yeah, I'm not listening to you on the score of you asking for a cost. Just take a date. Then he has to settle on February 28th. So on February 28th, the expectation is that Honorable Abekandapa will come to court, and lawyers of Oliver Barker-Vormawor will subject him to further cross-examination in that 10 million defamation sum in which he has accused Oliver Barker-Vormawor, or Oliver Barker-Vormawor is alleged to have made a comment that, yes, the National Security Minister allegedly induced him, or was in the process of inducing him to stop his political activism. And so that case is on, yes, it was on yesterday, but it has to be adjourned. But Kandapa's quest for a court was yesterday turned down by the courts.
By the courts, yeah. Okay. And that was not just all that happened in court yesterday. There's also the Ashalibuche murder.
This case has to do with Safina Mohammed. Is alleged to have killed his boyfriend, a Canadian who was a student, a Ghanaian Canadian who came down here for some holiday, spent the night in her room or her home, and the next morning he was found dead. And so she was arrested together with some others. The others have all been released after investigations have been concluded. So he's the one that has been charged with the offense of murder. And as we speak, that case is hanging in that the court is yet to supervise the jury selection. One point in time, what the court said was to the effect that orders from above says that they should hold on for a while with the jury selection. And my understanding is that there are some of the jurors in the system who have been in the system for a very long time, and also there are some other cases who are also suffering because when you call the case, that particular juror is involved in the other case, so it makes the processes, it makes the expeditious hearing of the case very, very difficult. So the court wants to focus on all the cases that are nearing completion, and then once those cases are cleared, now they come and focus on the fresh cases that are yet to start. So that case was put on hold. Yesterday, the matter was called, but of course, the selection for the jurors was also extended again, or has been adjourned, and that means that this case will have to suffer an adjournment, and the parties will have to come back again for further direction from the courts.
Okay. Now, what are we to expect today?
So what we do expect today is in relation to the Cocoa Board case. Dr. Stephen Kwabena Opuni, Seidu Agongo, businessman, and his company, Agricot Ghana Limited. The last course, what we do know is that prosecution is done with calling their witnesses. Dr. Stephen Kwabena Opuni, 10 witnesses is done. And then Seidu Agongo and Agricot Ghana Limited are also parading their witnesses. And as we speak, the 9th defense witness for Seidu Agongo is in the witness box. And today, the expectation is that he'll face further cross-examination from lawyers of Dr. Stephen Kwabena Opuni. At the last court sitting, he made some interesting submission to the effect that if you look at the processes or the test result that prosecution is relying on, which came from Ghana Standard Authority, if you are giving him the option to grade between 1 to 10, on the scale of 1 to 10, the mark that he would assign to the outcome of that result was 1/10, meaning the report is highly unreliable, and you cannot use that to prosecute as a means to prosecute the accused person. He will be in court today, and then he will be subjected to cross-examination. But the interesting part of the cross-examination will be when prosecution is taking him on. But also, this is one of the cases that the ND in opposition thinks that the former appointees were being persecuted. And so once you are following this case, also look into the space and see what the new Attorney General's opinion on this matter, or legal opinion on this matter, would be. But what is clear today, what I can tell you today is happening is the effect that the 9 defense witness for Saidu Agongo would be in court. If anything happens to you, we will also not, we'll break it for people to understand what is happening and what is happening, especially in relation to the Cocoa Board case. And Dr. Stephen Kwabno Puni, Saidu Agongo, and Alcohol Ghana Limited are before the court since 2018. 6 years, right? Or 7 years. So in 2025.
Yeah.
So you're in 7 years.
Well, there's also the Kaswa Millennium murder and then the Afoko trial.
Yes, these are also murder cases. So the Millennium City involved self-acclaimed chief Ben Lord Abibio is alleged an issue that borders on land dispute. That is alleged to have shot a military man to death, and he's been arraigned. That also is akin to this Safina Mohammed matter that I have discussed, that the jury and panel had been suspended for a while. But of course, today we'll be in court to hear the pleasure of the court, what the directive of the court will be as to whether we have enough prospective jurors in the system who will then be selected. And for those who are interested in jury selection, it's a very interesting process, if you ask me. And how it is not the court that selects for the accused person, but the accused person themselves will select who they want to on the panel to try out them. But of course, the processes are very, very interesting. But we look forward to see what will happen in relation to it. And then Gregory Afoko, yesterday when I was discussing the cases with you, one thing that was clear was the new Attorney General's position.
Yeah, and you had said that if you probably were the counsel of Gregory Afoko,
file a repeat bail application for this case is coming on at the High Court today. But what we do know is that the substantive judge, Justice Marie Louise Simmons, sat throughout during the legal vacation,
so
and
she's not taking her break.
So she's not taking her break, and she's due back in February. Okay. The first week of February, she's back. But this case is before a relieving judge, Justice Rubiaiti. So it will be called today, and normally when it's happening like that, apart from motion, then the case will be called for mention. For mention because the accused persons are still in lawful custody, and every 2 weeks they have to be brought to the court for the court to see how they are faring, and if there are anything that they want the court to do for them, then that is done. But what is clear is that Gregory Afoko is back in court with Asapki Alangde. Asapki Alangde is not a ghost, because remember that he was found guilty for conspiracy, and how one person can be convicted or found guilty for conspiracy as per the verdict of the previous jury is an interesting thing. But he's back in court together and facing a murder charge together with Afoko. So we'll know more in relation to this case. And this and other things that might come up in court.
All right. Thank you very much. Mutala Inusa, our legal affairs correspondent, champion Kumepe.
They have a lovely day.
I'm wishing you same and make it productive as well. I mean, I know that you're a star boy.
You are a star lady. Star lady. You sit behind
right now, you have to find your own star. If I say something,
then
you repeat it. Copy. You remember when we were much younger? If you say something and then if you're having a little bit of a tip with a classmate and you say something, he also repeats, he or she repeats it. Hey, copy. Don't say my own.
Try to repeat after me. Do you know that those days it's going to say after you?
After you,
do you remember
that was water, right?
It was water.
Or something.
Yeah,
it's water. So what was after you? Saying when the pens. Especially when it's like when you are low on maybe coins or something, or the money they gave you to school is finished. After you, Charlie. We have come a long way. We have really come a long way, Charlie. God has been good. It's still the Morning Star here on Star 103.5 FM. We'll bring you first check in a bit.